Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Matty. This is Yankee and the Brit. This is our Thursday pregame show. And if you're in the comments, just so you know, we did this pre-recorded the night before so that Matty does not have to be up at 5 in the morning to do this. So we're doing this on Wednesday, but you will be seeing it on Thursday before the game.
We tried. I slept through twice. Probably safer to do it this way.
Yeah, and I'm not getting up at 5:30, so I can't even hold it against you.
I'll still get up at 5:30 for the show early in the week, but twice a week just feels like a lot.
Yeah, if I'm up at 5:30, it's because I have not went to bed yet.
Yeah, you're still awake from the night before. Normally, same. I tried that the time where I slept through. I was like, we got back from. I don't drink or anything, but we were out at like a Thai club until like 4 a.m. And I was like, oh yeah, sick. I'll just stay awake the whole time and fell asleep like at my desk.
That's good times. All right. Well, let's start out with any Vikings fans who are watching. The elephant in the room. JJ goes on IR. The earliest he's back is week 10.
How confident do you feel that he'll be back for week 10?
It's a hamstring, right? So who fucking knows?
So you never know. Is it worth just chilling? But like a hamstring, once it's healed, right? But just don't rush him back. There's no need to rush.
So I went through the schedule, and I really think by the bye, the Vikings literally could be 8-5, 7-6, even with the record they have and JJ out.
Because your division has the Bears and the Packers in it.
And yeah, and if you look at the schedule coming up, this is where it was always, if you can get through that first fucking 4 or 5 games, the Vikings have a shot at this, and then their last 3 games are more rough. But I could see 7-6 by the bye.
So just let's have a look into that actually. So no JJ. Okay. So where are we going up to for it to be week 10? 1, 2.
I don't have the schedule.
Okay, cool. So next up you have the Bears. Feels like a win.
If we lose to the Bears, I might just stop watching football altogether.
If you lose to the Bears, I think it is time to just blow it up, really.
You mean the whole state of Minnesota, right? Okay.
Okay, so win against the Bears. So that's 1. Loss against the 49ers. I'm guessing you're saying win against Packers. Beat the Falcons? Yes or no? Yeah. Saints?
Yes.
Okay. Broncos, yeah. And then Bears again. And then that brings you up to when JJ's back, which you then pay the Raiders. And then you've got the Bengals, Lions, Packers, and Lions to finish out the season. So definitely still doable, even with JJ missing. But I feel like if you drop a couple of those games, so like I look at the Falcons and I look at the Saints and I go, oh right, okay. If you drop them, then that's kind of getting close to being it. Yeah, your camera's gone so funny, man.
I turned it off to blow my nose, and next thing you know.
Yeah, with JJ out, if you do lose a couple of those games, is it time to look at who are you looking at trading, getting rid of, getting them off the books?
I don't know, but I really don't like what my camera's doing.
There you go. You're back.
Okay. You can see me. I'm not a blur like on. I felt like one of those dudes on those like motorcycle club documentaries where they're like his name and his face have been changed, and then his voice is like, we went out to the I'm sorry, what was the question? I got all caught up in doing
if you lose a couple of those games, so say you fall to the Falcons and the Saints, like what are you looking at doing?
I see Vikings fans go blow it up. How do you blow it up? What do you do? Trade away Danielle Hunter? Okay, we're done. What do you do? Trade away Harrison Smith? Like, there's not a ton.
It would be Harrison Smith, Hunter, and then the conversation about Kirk comes up.
Okay, here's the thing. Everybody keeps bringing this up. If anybody watched quarterback, He doesn't want to play anywhere else, and he has a no trade.
There you
Also,
go.
if anybody's been watching the comments, JJ wants him there to sign that extension. You don't get rid of Kirk and all these people keep going, trade Justin Jefferson. Look, you do not win by trading away a unicorn. And people are like, what do you mean a unicorn? He's the best fucking receiver in the NFL. You do not win by trading away the best player at a position in the NFL. It's the same reason that even though he's 30, Chris Jones is still on the Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely. And the Vikings as well. There are signs of life on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, and
which
if
is
you look
which is
at
the
all
fix.
Yes, and if you look at all the games, we've been in them. Every game we've lost by 7 or less, right? So, like I said, the bounces were going our way last year. They're going against us. But I truly believe, and maybe this is a homer thing to say, we are 11 fumbles away from having 4 or 5 wins right now.
Yeah, 11 fumbles is a lot of fumbles, but yes, you are. Yeah, definitely.
Right. No, but I'm just saying that's the problem. It's not the individual player. It's not Kirk. It's not the defense is getting better every game. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing and then everybody keeps going. They got the worst offensive line in football. And I have a problem with PFF, but PFF has them number 1 in pass blocking, number 2 in run blocking, but we're 29th in the run, which is really weird to me. But it does show, according to PFF, we don't have that bad of an offensive line.
So I'm a PFF fan. I like the way that PFF do their grading because they don't take things like, they don't just look at the stat. It feels like a lot of agencies just kind of look at the stats and go, oh, they've got this many sacks, they've got this many fumbles, they've got this many turnovers. But it's like, but a lot of the fumbles are happening after they've gone through the offensive line. After the offensive line has done its run blocking job, the fumble is then happening, not because of the offensive line.
I saw something crazy, and I don't know if it still holds true, but before the last game, the Vikings are the only team in the NFL that have 0 yards after contact on runs.
That's pretty wild. You feel like that's kind of impossible, right?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
That can't be right. There's no way that doesn't happen because you've just got to fall forward.
I've watched Madison play for 4 years, and he trucks dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, this is a weird – and I'm not giving him pass on the fumbles, but there's a few fumbles where the helmet just hits the ball perfectly on Madison. And, like, I don't know how you crush the running back for that. Like, you're both running full speed. The helmet hits the ball. Yeah, the ball's coming out.
If you look at stats, if you look at stats outside of sacks, so where these pass blocking stats will work for the run, we've analyzed that the run stats from PFF is because the fumbles kind of happen after the offensive line, which is crazy, but they do. So the offensive line does its job in the run. Kirk Cousins is also has the second most yardage in the NFL this season throwing the ball.
And I don't know if it's still that
299.6. It is. I'm looking at it right now.
No, I mean, I don't know if this one is still that, but before the last game, he had the most touchdowns going in the last week out of any quarterback.
Let's have a look. TDs. 13. Yeah, most by 2. Guess who's second? Joint second. Oh, there's 2 guys in here that are joint second that are quite funny.
Who is that?
Russell Wilson.
Oh, gee.
And Justin Fields. So again, like not necessarily the best stat in the world, but it shows that the offensive line is perhaps doing a decent job, and it's not the offensive line as well. I do think, like, would it be beneficial to have another strong offensive lineman? Would it be beneficial to pick up some draft picks for guys like Danielle Hunter and Harrison Smith?
We need a right guard.
Got out. Yeah.
And you never get rid of Harrison Smith. You do not get rid of a guy who plays that well, even though he's older, who wants to retire as a Viking. He went from being owed like $15 million to taking $8 just to stay, and he could have made more somewhere else. You know what I mean? Hitman wants to stay, and he's going to do what it takes to be a Viking. So to even think about trading him is crazy. And then do you trade Danielle Hunter? Sure. But unless you're going to get a first-round pick for a top rusher, do you even do it? Because if you take anything less, Vikings fans are going to lose their fucking mind anyway.
Maybe.
And half of our fan base, for some odd reason, is already calling for Kwesi's job.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I I don't even think it's 11 fumbles away from 5 wins on the season, though, is it? Like, yes, the number is 11 fumbles, but it's even if you halved that, you would be pretty
Yeah,
close.
I didn't want to sound like that over, that fan being the homer overly looking at it. And I'm not saying they would have won all those games, but they would potentially, without those fumbles, win 4 or 5 of those games, and we're having a completely different conversation this year.
Yeah, you could look at the games that I would look at where the fumbles made a big difference is obviously the Buccaneers game, first game of the season.
Eagles.
They made a huge difference. Yeah, the fumbles made a big part in the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles were a touchdown ahead though. Oh no, only 6 points. Only 6 points.
Yeah, and we turned the ball over on the way down to win that game.
Yeah,
and they can call that an interception, but they ripped it right out of KJ's hands, and that should be a fumble.
Yeah. The Chargers game, that's only 4 points. Every single one of your games have been one possession.
Should it be
apart from your win? Oh no, your win was also
Kansas
one
City?
possession. Should it be Kansas City? So it's the Vikings are still in it. There's no need to blow it up, but there's a couple of games here where it's like, okay, if we lose them, then maybe we're looking for trade value.
Why would you even blow it up even if you have a shit year when you see all the potential in what this team has?
Yeah.
So that's a weird conversation to me.
I never understand either. I never understand the whole thing of like either we're going to win the Super Bowl or we blow it up. There's no in between. It's like, oh, okay. What about just building? You know what I mean? I could feel frustrated as like a Vikings fan. I definitely sometimes feel frustrated as a Cowboys fan at the lack of kind of risk and the like. We are always going to be good. Like the Cowboys and the Vikings for the past while have always been good, but never the best.
Right. Also for this, with JJ being out, what I'm excited about is we already seen that Jordan Addison can play. So he's going to step. Yeah. We'll see how much he steps up. And Brandon Powell looked fucking good last week. Our rookie receiver, he's fast. He runs good routes. He's got decent hands. I'm actually excited to see him get more playing time. And I like Jalen Naylor, but he's injured, so that gives that guy even more playing time. So our receivers are going to be KJ, Addison, and Powell. And I'm excited to see how they do too. We have a deep tight end room. I don't think the offense falls off that much because if you look at the fourth quarter when the Vikings were moving the ball up and down the field on Kansas City, JJ wasn't even on there. And sometimes I feel like Kirk is at his best when he can just hit the open guy.
Yeah, and doesn't feel like he has to force it to JJ the entire time. But I do think that obviously JJ is a big miss. I think JJ is a big miss in the big moments.
Correct. But I still think with the schedule they have, they literally can make it through without JJ. And people aren't giving the defense credit, but they are getting better every fucking game. And they look a lot better than they did last year.
You have a really nice schedule coming up. Your schedule is very top heavy this year. You've probably got 3 losses. Like really looking at this coming up now, 3 losses. Maybe you split with the Lions. Oh no, you've already played the Lions once.
No. We play them. We play them week 18 and week 16. But the thing is, too, and I'm not saying they beat the 49ers, but the 49ers are going to lose to somebody because it's the NFL. The way
that they looked the other night.
Yeah, but it's the NFL. No, like the odds of going 20-0 and winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like you're going to lose to somebody, so they're going to have a bad game. Maybe it's against us. Who fucking knows? You know what I mean? You just never know what happens, but. I just think that the idea, even if they only win 3 more games this year, why would you blow up a team that has so much potential?
I never understand that. I never get the whole just blow it up mantra. I do believe in like trading some good assets for picks at the trade deadline.
And then everybody's like the picks though, like let's say there is a way to keep Daniil Hunter and he's elite, right? Why would you trade him for a lottery pick? Because that's all it is. It's a lottery ticket. A draft pick is just a lottery ticket. You have no idea for sure what it's going to turn into, right? So I always have a problem with that too.
Yeah, I just think that with the Daniil Hunter thing, does it look like he's going to be kept? Does it look like you're going to be able to keep him? Like that looks against the odds. So you improve your odds by getting a decent pick in at the trade deadline.
If you listen, it's not that he wants out of Minnesota. He just wants to be paid like one of the top defensive ends. So it depends on what they're willing to pay him. But people fail to realize going into next year, the Vikings have almost $60 million in cap space.
Yeah, JJ's about to take a nice chunk of that, but
yes. Not next year because that's his 5th-year option. They'll extend him. And so that won't hit till later on. So like you were talking on our last video, you can spread out over the years where the big hits are, right? So it's and then JJ's going to sign at least a 5-year deal with that extension. That's 6 years. You can figure out how to spread that. So even if you want to extend Kirk for 2, he could be the one that eats up some more in the first year. You know what I'm saying? You could give Neal a 4 or 5 year extension, have it hit at different years. And JJ, plus the salary cap always goes up. And you and I know there's magical void years that you can play with now too.
Yeah, because how many draft picks are you going into the draft with next year? Do you know?
9, I believe.
9. You can find yourself a right guard.
I could be wrong.
Tell Brian Flores to draft his new guys after that, can't you?
We have 3 or 4 4th-round picks, even though we don't have a 3rd-round pick. Or 2 or 3 4th-round picks. Sorry, I think I said 3 or 4. And we don't. So, but they have draft picks, so they're not going in lacking ammunition. I just don't know why everybody right away is quick to go, let's just get rid of all. And the trade JJ thing just drives me absolutely insane.
That doesn't make any sense. I've never heard anybody say that.
Good thing you're not in the Vikings groups. I have learned there is a reason why we were voted the 2nd dumbest fan base in the NFL.
After the Cowboys.
Yeah, me and you are sitting here like, our fan bases are dumb.
I've muted I've muted all of the Cowboys stuff after this week. It's tough, man. It's tough.
But I'm really excited about Brandon Powell. That's my most excitement I want to see. Because
maybe worth a stash. Maybe worth a fantasy stash in a big team league. So 14-team league worth a stash.
And KJ's gone next year after drafting Addison. There's no way they're going to re-sign him with JJ and Addison. And
by the way, JJ and Addison is a wide receiver tandem going on for a few years. That's going to be fucking crazy. If you find Kirk could play till he's 40. Kirk doesn't play a style of ball where it doesn't mean they can't play until he's 38, 39, 40.
And he's tough as nails. If you look at the hits he takes, he pops back up and he never misses a game.
Yeah, there's no reason why Kirk can't play for that long. And with the numbers he puts up, there's no reason why the Vikings shouldn't want him to play for that long. That's what I don't get the most about it. But but if you do find a younger quarterback to go for, or somebody like Kyler Murray becomes available, while you have Kyler Murray's contract is an absolute killer. But somebody like that becomes available.
I only seen him in the preseason, so I don't got much to go on. But coming out of Minnesota, they love Jaren Hall too. Which in the he's super accurate. So athletic. So maybe there is something there. It'd be weird that if the Vikings were a team to find somebody in the 5th round that was a star as quarterback, that'd be weird. But
but if nothing else, behind Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I think we got a backup for the next 4 or 5 years. So you know,
that's good. Nice bit of developmental time for a guy. If the Lions are so determined to not sign Jared Goff,
Russell, I mean, I don't want him, but Russell Wilson might be out in the wind next year too.
That'd be crazy.
Well, they can walk. That's when they can walk away from him without eating a ton of the money.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, I doubt, is going to sit behind Brock Purdy in the 49ers for very long.
I don't want
Sam Darnold is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. He's a legitimate starting quarterback for some team out there.
And Justin Fields is a top 35 quarterback in the NFL. So.
Not according to touchdowns thrown.
Let's go to completion percentage on that one.
Yeah, shall we actually look that up? Because
60.1.
It blows my mind every time. I love that. I love that you know that off the top of your head.
For his career, 60.1.
All right. Okay. Do you want to know his QBR rating for the 2023 season? So, bearing in mind the guy has thrown 11 touchdowns, his QBR rating for the 2023 season is 46.4. That's his QBR. And his passer rating, but his passer rating is 95. Some of these things don't make sense. He's been sacked 20 times.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of those sacks are on him.
Yeah, definitely. His completion percentage is 61.8 for this year.
I think Justin Herbert's at like 74% completion percentage or something crazy like that. So
71.
71. Okay. So that's a good quarterback on a bad team, and he still got 71.
Yeah. Weirdly, Josh Allen is at 73.
Okay, maybe that's who I was looking at when but
that's crazy. Gardner Minshew is on 68.
Speaking of that, I got well, this is taking forever to load. I tried to I wonder if I got him because I tried to pick him up on the waivers because Anthony Richardson's out.
Good pickup if you do get
Gardner
Minshew. I kind of threw a hissy fit this week, so I forgot to do any waivers stuff, and now I'm just probably lost again. I got annoyed.
Hey, I'm bringing out the big guns with Christian Kirk and Brandon Ayuk this week, but we won't talk about that, huh, Canadian?
That's just such bullshit.
Did you see what he just traded for?
He wouldn't give me
DeAndre Hopkins.
He wouldn't fucking give me Nakua for like a legitimate trade, and then he's giving you guys just everything. Because Jake Ferguson is a terrible tight end. And Michael Thomas isn't a top wide receiver. Oh, awesome. Great fucking work.
Well, Alvarez turned around the Badgers, and Ferguson is his grandson. So he's our AD. Yeah.
I love Jake Ferguson. I think he's an excellent tight end.
All right. Well, let's talk about that Packers-Raiders game, Matty.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not really sure. I'm just not really sure what to think about that entire game. I don't know what to think about Jordan Love. First up, that's what I don't know what to think about.
I don't think he's an NFL starting quarterback, and I was the one who thought he might be.
Yeah, because he looked good. How do you look so good to start with and then just become terrible? Become terrible very quickly. What's that? 13 points the Packers scored.
And then the fact that they end the game on one of his great interceptions there.
Yeah. You're not allowed to be non-dynamic and throw interceptions. Like it's not allowed. Tell that to Dak.
And I actually think they have decent skill players too. So I think a lot of that falls on the quarterback because Watson, Dobbs. Now Aaron Jones wasn't there this last week, but Aaron Jones is a good skilled player. I just think that a lot of that falls on the quarterback. Or another thing I've been saying is, can LaFleur coach, or was that just him coaching Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. I think it's unfair to call 182 yards and 3 interceptions for no touchdowns into Matt LaFleur, considering there's 16 completions on 30 attempts, which is about like 51% on a pass completion rate. So yeah, and I do think they have good. I do think they have good skill positions. Christian Watson went for 91 yards, averaging 30 yards a catch, which is pretty wild. Which is pretty wild as well. So I'm not sure about blaming it on Matt LaFleur. What I am sure is that Jordan Love isn't this a lot of people saying at the start of the season, perhaps Jordan Love is the Packers have managed to fall into 3 amazing quarterbacks in a row, and it's definitely not looking like that, is it? And it's looking even more like that draft pick is just falling apart on them.
Is it not fair to blame LaFleur if they're not very good and Rodgers did nothing but complain about the play calling the whole time he was there?
Yeah, I guess so. Was Rodgers switching up the plays? Yeah, a little bit. The line is a little bit the line as well, but I think it's unfair to put it on LaFleur just now. However, coaching is about improving your players as well. So if we don't see any improvement from Jordan Love, then you can start saying, well, LaFleur, maybe start calling a better game for what you have here. Yeah, it's difficult for the Packers. That was just a hard game to watch overall because, we're talking about the Packers being shit, but the Raiders didn't really contribute much either.
No, the only person worth watching in that game was Max Crosby.
Yeah, as always with the Raiders, at the moment, because Josh Jacobs, is great, but he hasn't really done much this season. Like, what have you done for me lately, Josh Jacobs? Coming into the start of this year, Josh Jacobs ran for 69 yards off 20 carries for 3.5 yards a carry.
I feel bad for Jacobs, though, because it's like they can just put 10 in the box and go, okay, Jimmy, beat us.
Yeah, I do feel bad for him. I also think there's got to be an element of offensive scheme problems there when you have Jacoby Myers is an excellent slot receiver, and if you combine that with Davante Adams as well, and Austin Hooper and Hunter Renfrow at tight end, there's a scheme that gets those guys open. There's a scheme that should get one of Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, and Davante Adams open, and we know that Jimmy G can hit open receivers unless it's in the Super Bowl. That was a bit harsh.
Shots
Sorry,
fired. Jimmy taking
Just made me
fucking random shots there.
And just fell out of my mouth. Sorry, Jimmy.
I don't disagree with you. It's just funny that there was shrapnel flying everywhere at Jimmy G on that one.
But we do know that he can hit open receivers. So that sounds like an offensive coordinator problem to me.
Well, Matty, you and I have some little segments or whatever we were going to do that we were going to talk about. So I got 5 coaches for everybody who should be on the hot seat.
All right. Let's hear them.
All right. I'm going to start in the AFC, and I don't think anybody can argue with this. Josh McDaniels on the hot seat.
Interesting. That would have been a fucking beautiful segue you had just there, talking about offensive scheme issues at the Raiders, and then we move on to Josh McDaniels on the hot seat.
Yeah, I think Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat. I think that you've been there a couple of years now. You haven't shown any improvement, and it seems like your players don't like you. You're hearing different things from different players. Wooler wanted out of there because he couldn't stand McDaniels. I mean, there's different things going on. The Belichick way only works if you're winning, and you have a Tom Brady that you can abuse in front of the team.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's not like he hasn't been given the tools to succeed. Like, they've given him the opportunity to succeed. There's a reason Derek Carr isn't there, and he's part of that. So you can't say, I'm stuck with Jimmy G. No. You pick Jimmy G over Derek Carr. That's what you've done. That's on you. So, yeah, they've given him Davante Adams as well. They've given him that, they originally had Waller. They have a good defense now at the Raiders. They have the start of a good defense. And Josh Jacobs hasn't shown any improvement in his coaching, especially from the Broncos as well. Is Josh McDaniels the only person who can save the Patriots offense? Just saying.
No, I like Bill O'Brien, and I think if he can't save it, there's just nothing to save there.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe Bill O'Brien becomes the next head coach of the Raiders.
I did not like him as a head coach. He traded away every good asset the fucking Texans had when he was coaching GM down there. And
yeah, I think that kind of felt out of spite at the very end. That was right at the end. Felt out of spite.
So my second coach that should be on the hot seat is the Browns' Kevin Stefanski. You had these years to do it. You fucked up the whole Baker Mayfield thing. You guys went out and spent the world on Deshaun Watson. And then you take quarterbacks who are not equipped to do it and go, here, throw the ball 70 fucking times.
I wonder how much of the Deshaun Watson trade is on Kevin Stefanski, because if it's at all on Kevin Stefanski, then it's probably time to go.
And the way you botched Baker Mayfield, like how that whole thing was fucked from the beginning.
And Baker Mayfield looks great in Tampa now as well. Well, not great, but decent.
He seems to be in a great place. I've watched interviews with him. I watched him on Pat McAfee. He seems to have matured a lot and seems to be in a great place in his life. And I think Tampa made a good move for getting him for as cheap as they did.
Yeah, definitely. I think the league kind of fell out of love with him a bit too quickly. But yeah, Stefanski, without Nick Chubb, his offense doesn't work either. So,
right. Yeah. And these are in no particular order. And some people might get upset with me on this one, but he's not. But I think Brian Daboll should be on the hot seat.
Whoa. Okay, explain. Coach of the year last year.
1-4 with the same team you had last year, and you don't have anything to look back on and go, this is what's different and this is why it happened. Danny Dimes has regressed, and you're supposed to be a quarterback guru. Your offensive didn't get any better since you've been there, and your defense looks even worse. And you made bad offseason moves for an old Darren Waller who looks like he can't play anymore.
There is something weird about MetLife Stadium that makes people look like they can't play anymore. The Dallas Cowboys defense had more touchdowns than Kenny Golladay when Kenny Golladay was a New York Giant, as well. So that's a strange thing about the Giants there. I'm not sure whether I agree with you on Brian Daboll. I think yes, they've regressed this season, but looking at what Danny Dimes was before Brian Daboll got there last season is no good either. And he's getting hit a million times by the offensive line.
I think he's an offensive coordinator, not a head coach.
I could see that.
And then I've been beating on this guy since the beginning of the hire, but I think that Frank Reich at the Panthers should be on the hot seat, and they should think about getting rid of him right away before things spiral out of control and you ruin Bryce Young.
I think it's a little bit too early. Obviously, he's only 5 games into his Carolina Panthers stint. However,
so how did he do in Indy?
Oh yeah. I didn't like the hire, but once you've made the hire, you've got to give the guy time to make it work, I guess.
I don't know if you fucked up. Is it ever too early to eject? You know what I'm saying? No. Like, is it?
No. Don't double down on a mistake. You're right. But I guess they did the thing. They were making a mistake to begin with, so now they go, oh, we need to give the guy time to make it work out. We need to do this. We need to do that. I don't know. I didn't like the hire either.
Because everything he gets credit for is Carson Wentz, and it's like Doug Peterson.
It is Doug Peterson. It's all Doug Peterson.
I thought that was a bad hire off the bat. They're 0-5. They're not looking great. I think he's on the hot seat. But my fifth and final one, and he should just be fired tomorrow. Let's go to the Bears. Either Flus should be gone tomorrow, and they shouldn't even talk about that anymore.
Yeah, the way that they've handled Justin Fields' coaching situation since he's been there has not helped Justin Fields. Not that he's an amazing quarterback anyway, but you've just given him no chance to succeed by giving him a defensive coordinator who can't even really put together a defense. Not helpful whatsoever. You've missed a few that I have as well. What about Brandon Staley? He would be my number one.
I get that, but I feel like I only wanted to go with 5, and I feel like they're 2-2. They're still in the mix of everything. So I think he gets the rest of the season. And I don't think they're going to fire him, too. That's one of the things. I don't think they're going to, because it's a badly run franchise by bad owners.
Yeah, I think they definitely should, though. They should have sacked him last year. I've got a few coordinators as well that could be looking at losing their jobs. Matt Canada.
Yeah, I was sticking with head coaches. If we were going through coordinators, there's a handful that I could definitely beat up on the show.
Yeah, Matt Canada and Vance Joseph were the two that came immediately to mind, the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. And for me, and I don't know whether it's just because I'm salty, it's Mike McCarthy.
So
Mike McCarthy, since he started calling the plays, the Cowboys defense has gone down the drain.
Yeah, but he ain't calling the defensive plays.
Offense.
They're 3-2. They're in the mix. You still have to play the Eagles twice. You'll probably make the playoffs. I don't know. I don't think Jerry's getting rid of him.
I don't think he will. I think if we don't make the NFC Championship game, though, we should get rid of him. It's time to move on. If we don't make the NFC Championship game, I've become a hater again. Oh, it feels gross. I was starting to like him.
I'm trying to think of a very nice way to say this because I am not wishing bad on anybody, but I think you might be stuck with McCarthy until Jerry's gone.
Great. Thanks for that, Jay. Do you still have the clip of me saying that Jerry Jones licks out Mike McCarthy's arsehole?
It's on Instagram if anybody wants to go watch that. Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah, some coaches definitely on the hot seat, which is weird to say in week 5 of a sports season, but this is the NFL and we are about a quarter of the way through now. So coaches better start getting their shit together. And Josh McDaniels, I think, is somebody who is a few bad losses away from losing his job because the Raiders are not afraid to pull the trigger on something like that. And we all know that Bill Belichick will take him back straight away. Also, Bill Belichick is on the hot seat.
I was going to put him on
they'll
there.
ask him to retire first.
Or I think he might just become the GM.
Yeah, he'll walk out on his own terms or something like that, which isn't the hot seat, I guess. Like they're not going to sack him out, right?
I don't disagree with it, and I did think about putting him on there, but he's Belichick, and I'm just not sure that's how it's going to go. So
yeah, the reason the offense sucks is because of Belichick, the GM. Yeah.
Well, Matty, let's talk about what you got going on, and you got some quarterback rankings. Yeah.
So what I've gone for here is they're not the rankings. These aren't the way that the best quarterbacks are. These aren't the standings, as a lot of media say, when basically what they're saying is this isn't the best team. This isn't the people with the best record or the most yards. It's a combination of history or youthful development and how they're doing right now. These are the quarterbacks that I would want on my team now that Dak Prescott is clearly the worst quarterback in the NFL. I'm full Cowboys hater right now. I'm full Cowboys hater.
That Shannon Sharp face is what gets me every fucking time.
So this segment is called Who Do I Want to Replace Dak Prescott? It's called Dak's Getting the Sack. Who's going to get the Cowboys back to the NFL?
That's a long name of a segment.
Bars, as they would say. Okay, and in number 10, I've gone for 10. I've found 10 quarterbacks that I want, and there could be more. In at number 10, I've got CJ Stroud. I'd be taking CJ Stroud in at number 10. His young career is looking fantastic so far, and obviously he's a young guy and on a rookie deal, so I'll take him any day. Number 9, I've got Kirk Cousins. I'd take Kirk Cousins over Dak Prescott. We'll take him on from you, Jay. We'll relieve you of that contract. That's totally fine. I'm not sure what we're going to do with Dak's contract if we're doing that as well.
Even though Kirk's got a really low contract compared to quarterbacks now, but
we'll take the fact that we're going to have to re-sign Kirk pretty soon as well. But yeah, I definitely take Kirk Cousins because we're still like the Cowboys are still in with a shot of the Super Bowl. So I just want somebody who can run some sort of system and use the weapons that we have available. And unfortunately, Dak can't seem to do that. And next week, I'll probably be doing the whole shouty TV thing. And if he does really well against the Chargers, I'll love him again. But right now, I'm taking Kirk Cousins over him as well. I would also like at number 8. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be amazing to have Brock Purdy as the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys? I would love that. Just guy sit in, run the system, and I don't understand why it's a slate to say that a guy is a system quarterback, because I'm not saying that Brock Purdy can only do it in one system. I feel like Brock Purdy can do it in lots and lots of systems. He just knows how to run those systems. So if you get Brock Purdy, the players like the Cowboys have, if you get him the defense like the Cowboys have, he can help you out and he'll get you far on. So I'll take Brock Purdy.
All quarterbacks are all good quarterbacks
Exactly.
are system quarterbacks and game managers. I don't care what anybody says. If you can't run within the system or manage the game, there's no way you can be good at your job.
Remember basically all last year where we were saying Patrick Mahomes is better now because he needs to fit in the system more than when Tyreek Hill was there and do win a Super Bowl?
Who's the greatest game manager of all time? Tom Brady.
Peyton Manning. John Elway didn't really have a good system and got to the Super Bowl 3 times and lost every time. Gets a good system and wins a fucking Super Bowl. You know, it's the thing that puts you over the edge. So Brock Purdy is excellent to have in there at number 8. And number 7, Caleb Williams. I know he's not an NFL quarterback right now, but I'd want Caleb Williams at the back there. I'd take that lottery pick. I'll take that lottery pick over Dak Prescott.
So how many good USC quarterbacks are there?
I don't know. I don't know. I do know Sam Darnold. Sam Bradford. Did he play at USC? No. Who is the one? There is one. Is it Sam Darnold?
No, he played at Oklahoma. But are you talking maybe Matt Leinart? Oh, that went really well. I forgot about that. Matt Leinart balled out.
Carson Palmer. That's who I was talking about.
CJ Stroud is changing the way you look at at Ohio State. So maybe, but I'm not shitting on Williams, but you can't trust a rookie.
Yeah, I know. I know I was cheeky. I knew it was cheeky putting him in there. Matt Stafford is my number 11 as well, because I would take Matt Stafford. So I would happily replace Caleb Williams with Matt Stafford as well in this list. However, having seen some of Caleb Williams' film, it just he looks good. Like, he looks very, very good. Okay, moving on. Number 6, I've got Jalen Hurts. Who wouldn't want Jalen Hurts in their team as well? At 5, despite some of the terrible decision making, he still has a 74.1% completion rating. Josh Allen. Definitely take Josh Allen in there as well. Here we go. And number 4, these are the guys where it's like these are the guys where if we got them, if the Dallas Cowboys didn't win the Super Bowl, I'd be amazed. And number 4, Justin Herbert. Still young, still incredible arm talent, and a smart, intelligent guy as well, Justin Herbert. If he's able to get to the playoffs with Brandon Staley as his coach, who knows what the hell he's able to do with. Well, I mean, he'd still have Mike McCarthy as a coach, but even Mike McCarthy is a step up from Brandon Staley. At number 3, we've got Trevor Lawrence, the Caleb Williams. Before Caleb Williams, we've got Trevor Lawrence coming in there at number 3. 2, we've got Joe Burrow. even coming back from his calf injury now, looking fantastic. And at number 1, we've got Patrick Mahomes. A few honorable mentions on why they're not on the list. Lamar Jackson, can't trust him. Can't trust him in the big moments. Lamar Jackson and an injury prone guy as well. I'm going from one quarterback in Dak Prescott that I can't trust in the big moments to Lamar Jackson. Doesn't feel right. Who else was I looking at? Bryce Young hasn't shown me anything. Justin Fields obviously is just turnover machine as well.
I would take Dak 100 times out of 100 over Justin Fields.
Same. Any others that are in there? Any qualms with my list?
No, I don't. And I saw it took a while, but the Cowboy fans have finally turned on Dak Prescott.
There's been Cowboys fans turning on Dak Prescott for a while, but that game that this week was enough for me.
Dak defenders anymore. 0.
Yes, I think that's where we're at. That is that.
You guys are all coming around to what I've been telling you for 2 years now.
That's it for me. That last game, that's it for me. Like, do I still think he's a top 15 quarterback? Yes, definitely. However, in the big games, he's not got it.
I saw a Cowboys fan make a comment yesterday or the day before that I was like, okay, preach. Because he was like, what made Dak special was his athletic ability, and it's gone.
I've said that on the show before. That's the problem with our red zone. A lot of our red zone offense now, and our inability to make third downs is quite a lot of the time the play breaks down and Dak runs the ball from there. And since he snapped his leg, he's not had that ability to do that anymore.
All right. So, well,
I'm off Dak Prescott.
We got 15 minutes left to get this done because I like to stay under an hour so I can get this on Instagram too.
We can do it.
We'll go into the Thursday night game. The Broncos at the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 10.5.
That's quite low.
Does it matter that it's a divisional game?
No. They're the Super Bowl champs. They're 4-1, and they're about to play against the worst defense I've ever seen. And which is weird. What is the most irksome about the Denver Broncos defense is the fact that they're so good on paper. They're a fantastic defense on paper, and they're one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. However, the Chiefs don't have any firepower, really. Like, they don't have any big play firepower outside of Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So those wide receivers don't have the juice to make the big plays. So there is a way where it's just dinking around.
Does Kelce play this week with that bad ankle?
I think Kelce seems like he's become soft since dating Taylor Swift. Now he's a made man now.
When you get that high ankle sprain like he got against the Vikings, you can play on it that day. You just keep it loosened up. But after that swelling kicks in, how are you on Thursday? You went from Sunday to Thursday injured. I'd actually bank that Kelce doesn't play.
I wouldn't play him. Would you play him against the Broncos? Is there any need to play him against the Broncos? No, not really.
No, I wouldn't play him. That's me, though.
Plus, Noah Gray looks okay. Like, Noah Gray has looked decent. They've got a decent tight end in Noah Gray in his stead there. Compared to Travis Kelce, he's not great, but still a great tight end.
I know Travis Kelce is famous, but the fact that you can just type in Travis and then Kelce comes up, that's a Taylor Swift thing.
Well, I mean, Google does learn your searches as well. So I think they probably went, oh, this guy likes football. Travis Kelce, but also
I don't know. Yes. I think Taylor's got him trending.
A dude is now a made man. Why would he play on a high ankle sprain now?
Did you see what he said? The reason he got injured was?
No, go on.
Because he's old as fuck. That's what he said.
Yeah, when he is. Well, He is kicking on there. I saw a boat in Philly had a ferry in Philly had on it seats reserved for Taylor Swift and Jason Kelsey's brother, which I thought was quite funny. I enjoyed that one. Good for Philadelphia fans, I guess. But
Travis Kelce is expected to play against the Broncos on Thursday.
I don't get why.
I think it's more of like, if you have those type of players and you trust them, you just trust what they say. And if they say, "Coach, I can go," you let them go.
Yeah, I don't see the need, I guess, is where I'm at with that. When your offense has, what is it with the Chiefs offense that is lacking the fire? Do they look like they're lacking juice to you as well, or is that just me?
I think their offensive line breaks down sometimes.
Yeah, that Walker is he the left or the right tackle? He's
the right tackle who lines up 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage
and full starts every time.
Dude's lined up behind Patrick Mahomes.
He full starts every play and still gets beat. So he full starts, lines up 8 yards behind and still gets beat. It's pretty wild. I mean, I couldn't do it. Full respect to any person who can be the offensive lineman, especially an offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. Full respect. But you just look daft every week.
So I'll just put it out there. I'm going to take the Chiefs minus 10.5, even though I hate big point spreads.
Yeah, I hate big point spreads. I wouldn't bet on it. But yeah, give me the Chiefs minus 10.5. The way that the Broncos even get within 10.5 is the Chiefs play like the Chiefs offense has no firepower and Russell Wilson manages to play a half decent game. But the other side of this is the Chiefs defense has been immense this year. So, and they can run the ball now because Isaiah Pacheco runs like a typewriter. It's fantastic. Like it looks amazing.
Explain the comparison.
Like the way that his legs work is like when you're pumping on a typewriter. Like
okay.
when you see like, I need an issue on Spider-Man by tomorrow. Like when it's like that. So the guy goes to the work thing and just starts cranking it out by the next day. That's what it looks like when Isaiah Pacheco is running.
He runs hard and he runs fast, and he is deceptively fast because he doesn't look as fast as he is until you're like, holy fuck, he's gone.
Yeah, because his legs are just going up and down. Like he's not actually going forward. Like he looks like he's like running on the spot. He's fantastic. I think he's one of my favorite players to watch right now. I'm gonna find an even more obscure comparison for that Isaiah Pacheco. I'm gonna try and get more obscure every week, but the typewriter is where I'm at right now.
47.5 over under. Give me the under.
Yeah, give me the under on that as well.
Because I feel like unless the Chiefs score 35
40
points.
Yeah. And I don't think the Chiefs, I genuinely don't think the Chiefs really have that in them at the moment to score that many points.
Well, also, if they get ahead by a good amount, they're just going to run the ball, play the clock.
Yeah. Yeah, take everybody off. There's no need to play anybody. I'd rather Patrick Mahomes and bubble wrap like a lot of the time this season, to be honest. In games like this, because they're able to run the ball now. Because you're able to run the ball and you have a decent defense, there's no need for him to be on the field all the time. Like once you've won the game, like you can close it out. Your backup quarterback and your run game and your defense can close the ball game out.
Yeah, and there's something weird going on in Denver because even their offense has way too much talent to be as shitty as they are.
I've never rated their wide receiver room personally, but yes, I agree. Their offensive line looks too good to be as disastrous as it sometimes is.
That's what happens when you pump a ton of money in the offseason into your offensive line, because it's almost like all the guys you paid for, why didn't the team they were on pay them?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's also that whole thing of time to gel together and Sean Payton implementing a new offense, but I'm not sure what's going on in Denver.
I think they still just have a bad culture, and he hasn't turned it around yet.
Yeah, he's on his way to doing it.
We're having these conversations though, where we're looking at these coaches, and it's like, was it Belichick or Brady? Was it Breeze or was it Peyton? You know what I mean? So maybe it was more Breeze than Sean Payton.
That's difficult to stomach, that one. Yeah.
I mean, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and what did Sean Payton ever win without him?
Yeah. What did Breeze ever win without Sean Payton?
Breeze was good in San Diego before his shoulder got ripped off.
Before he ripped his shoulder off. That's true. Did Sean Payton? But Sean Payton was an excellent offensive coordinator in Dallas before then as well.
Was he, or was that team just fucking loaded?
Well, you know, Dallas have had plenty of loaded teams since then and done fuck all. So, you know, maybe that was Sean Payton.
And maybe he was better as a coordinator than a coach.
Maybe he's an absolutely incredible offensive coordinator.
And I wasn't saying that it was Breeze. I'm saying we have those questions now. Breeze or Peyton, Brady or Belichick.
If Peyton becomes re-available, please just sack fucking Mike McCarthy in a heartbeat. But yes, it's a fair question to have.
Mike McCarthy is doing better than Peyton, and you would give him up for Sean Payton.
Yeah, yes. In a heartbeat.
Okay.
just because of the team.
Wait.
Like if you look at the team.
How many wins do they have this year?
If you look at the team.
No, I'm being serious. I don't remember.
The Broncos won.
So the only team they beat was the Bears. Is that who they beat?
Yes.
Yeah, they came back against them, right?
Yes. Hang on. Gotta check this now.
I got it right here. If my phone would stop being slow.
Cool. Yeah, they're 1-4. So the only team that they beat was the Bears. They should have beat the Commanders as well.
I'm just saying, if the only team you beat this year was the Bears.
Yeah, and they got blown out 70-20.
Do you realize if the season ended today that the Bears would have the first and second overall pick?
That's fucking immense for them.
Well, is it? Is it because are they just going to stick with Justin Fields?
No, you trade Justin Fields immediately.
Well, I think you got to cut him. You could have traded him last offseason when I told them to trade him, but they didn't want to listen to me. So I think you got to cut him.
Whatever.
I've had this argument on Facebook all week. Who the fuck is going to give up anything of value for Justin Fields?
I think there'd be a few teams that may be interested.
Like who?
Atlanta.
They say that, but Ritter's playing better than fucking Justin Fields.
Do you know, actually, I say that. Like, I think I just get tricked by Ritter because he looks like a 40-year-old man. But he is...
I try to take offense to that, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's looking like a 40-year-old man in the normal world is fine, just not on a football field is more what I was getting at. Desmond Ridder is undefeated at home in college and NFL. In college and his NFL career, he's undefeated at home. It's fucking amazing. For Cincinnati and Atlanta. Go Desmond Ridder. Never mind.
Well, we made it through this episode. I hope you guys all enjoyed the Thursday night game, even though it's probably not going to be that great of a game.
Amazon have just had shit games since they've taken over.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the year, you thought this one would be better than what they had been getting, but then the Broncos are not looking good. But that's something we can talk about this weekend.
Yeah. Once the Broncos have beaten the Chiefs. Just seeing if we can make it exciting. Let's see what happens.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Go over and hit us on Instagram. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.